Now, some people really out of touch, I would say, not necessarily something that's entirely unforgivable. I would say that they definitely have a hard time seeing what life is like for the average people throughout, especially with what it's like to be a peasant on the bottom. There was a gentleman who made a video. Let's see if I can find it on the internet. It's right here on the console. Not to go hard on him or anything. He seems like a perfectly alright dude. Focuses on the tech world and the updates of technology and how things keep on improving. And so his normal thing is to value change, value, and he probably is in the demographic. He's probably capable with his small YouTube channel and his other businesses that he may or may not have to afford to upgrade to the newest systems, and so he always wants things to be upgraded, and that's the normal thing for him. His business is probably based around, technology improving, so to speak. And I don't dislike him. I think he has some valid points to be made, but I think he really has a hard time figuring out. And this is his video where he's coming to the understanding of like the normal person, the person who can't afford to upgrade his computer every 2 years or buy a new phone every 3 months, or the person who can't afford to get the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 5 Pro, the person who can't constantly be buying controllers because they're built shittier than they have ever been, shittier controllers, constantly upgrading. He probably can't afford that, so he's in a position to have a hard time understanding why people don't want to be left behind. It's not that they don't like new things too. It's simply, I think, two things. The first thing is they don't. The gentleman's name is Daniel Owen, and he's got a video about it. This used to be normal, right? Showing showing some things here, and I think the 2 points is, the first is most of us can't afford the upgrades. Otherwise, we would be all on board with the upgrades. The other reason, I think, is, and this is something I understand because I've thought this way and still do to a great degree, if the technology jumps forward significantly, it's not just we can't afford it, but even if we could, we still have our old systems, we still have our old games, and we still have our old save files and everything set up, everything installed. Upgrading means many times reinstalling the operating system, and if this can last a little bit longer, it'd be better and a lot less work. So it's like the amount of work, the amount of time, respecting your time, not wanting to be left behind, not being able to afford to move forward. This is why the elites are pivoting to the renting model, because they know it will be a way for people. It'll be easier for people to jump into the renting model because it'll be cheaper for them to get the new upgrades. And people already rent their phones and their cars at this point in time. They probably don't think they do, but they definitely don't own them. So if you don't own it, then you're probably renting it. With the whole cars, you get a car, you get a loan on the car, you pay $300 a month on your car. That's renting a car, son. With the cloud streaming, that's renting games essentially. Digital games, it's kind of adjacent. It's not quite owning games like physical copy. The digital games is like a step. It's transitioning you into the cloud gaming, into not owning your games, into renting your games. And so the elites really feel like that's the future because they can see that people can afford to upgrade that way, and that way they'll be tempted and they won't be able to resist because most people do want to upgrade and want the newest thing. And so that way the elites can give the people what they want, and in return they're given by the people what they want is more consolidation, more power, more control. And I think this is kind of the parasitic, but also in a way symbiotic relationship. Very symbiotic with the type of person who's fine having no control, who's fine not owning things. But a lot of us want to have control over our own tech. And so if you can't afford to do a real upgrade. See, I've got GeForce Experience on my other computer. Anytime I could boot that up on that shitty computer, the other shitty computer, and I could, in fact, run it and play games. Cloud, 1 hour at a time for free. But that to me is not even worth it. It's not even worth the effort to boot it up. To play just 1 hour of each game that I already own on some Steam or X whatever fucking got or some I think mostly they just do Steam and one or two other platforms. But like, it's not even worth it to me. I could play Guild Wars 2, one of my favorite games, for an hour a day. But I'm not. Why am I not? Because the amount of work it goes into it to get an inferior thing that I used to have. It's not worth it. I want to actually upgrade. I want to actually make progress. I don't want to just compromise and get less than I had. You know what I mean? I've got games on the PlayStation 4 from older systems that are the best they've ever been, and I could be playing those right now. Why would I go and play a game in the worst way I've ever played it? That's not progress. That's not an upgrade. Cloud gaming is not an upgrade for me. I need to get an actual gaming computer, streaming computer set up. But to do that, I've got to progress more. I got to make more money. And I think what people would watch this kind of a video and really fall off, where like he has a hard time understanding. I think he's got it wrong to a degree, but partially already also got it right, but mostly just got it wrong. And I think that's where maybe later in the video he realizes it's really just about they can't afford it, and it's a lot of work to upgrade. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of wasting time, and if your system already works and it's already set up, and you already have your game saves, and everything's already calibrated, all your settings are done, installing a new memory or installing or getting a new device or starting to do a new upgrade is going to force you to go through those settings again, is going to force you to waste so much time. So it's the time, respect my time, it's the money. Most of us don't have it. It's really just as simple as those two things. And being fine where you are, rich people are never fine where they are. They constantly want to upgrade. But poor people, they learn to be fine where they are, and they don't want change unless they can get the change that they want. So it's like the feeling of being left behind. And ultimately, we hit the 8-minute mark. We're good to go. Ultimately, it boils down to that's the difference between someone who's like in the tech world, making lots of money, covering the upgrades, and always being excited for the new thing, versus the normal person who's working a day job and sure would love to have a new phone and will have a new thing or whatever, and maybe these people are renting their cars and their phones and their clothes, but the one thing that they don't want to rent, the one thing that they don't want to upgrade to until they actually get an upgrade, is their games. Or more likely they're not renting much of anything. Maybe they're just renting their movie, they're renting their car and their internet, like their the other thing I said earlier. But ultimately not everything. And so, like, if you get a drill and you want to get a new drill, you want to get a new drill at the same level of quality of your old one. A new DeWalt or a new Benheiser hammer. You don't want to get a cheap Yokotol Amazon crap from China, some dropship shit. It's a new year, but you know it's not a real upgrade just because it's a new year and a shittier quality. You gotta get the same brand or just as good of a brand in a newer year to actually get an upgrade. And I think that's something that most people, content creators or people who are wealthy or people who are in the tech world and have the money to spend, just were blindsided with the not understanding. It's really just they can't afford it, and they have a system, and it's a lot of work to upgrade. And they're fine. They learn to be fine where they're at. You always chasing the new shiny thing like a bird. They don't want to get left behind. And that's something I'm worried about much less now, because the games that are coming out, not because of the tech that's coming out so much. That's not as much of an advance or progress. The tech is slowing down, maybe. That was his point, but it's the games that are coming out. I don't feel like I'm being left behind. We got Avowed, we got Dragon Age, we've got Concord, we've got basically all the games that have been popping off. The 2024 is the year that it switches, it turns. I was watching a video guy was making roads, very large roads, and people would, with many lanes, and they would just go from the far left lane and just go all the way to the far right lane. And it got me thinking about politics. A lot of people are doing that right now, and been doing it for a while. They start off in the far left lane and they're just like, fuck, let me get that. Where can I be free? Where can I do what I want to do? Where can I make the most money? Oh, okay, wait, no, far right it is then, son. And so we're at a turning point where maybe the next establishment, it may not be pro-human and it may not be pro-freedom, but it might definitely be more right-wing, kind of like the whole establishment right-wing, left-wing dichotomy illusion that we had in the past 35 years. Now it's going to be, whether or not it's legitimate, whether or not it's authentic, it's definitely going to be pandering more to the right. And so I think this is a point where the games, the industry, of course, is so far behind in that regard, to where, you know, you're not missing out on any of the games coming out, basically. The big, expensive ones, you know, the ones from the big studio. In the past 5, 10, 15 years, there hasn't been a whole lot. There's been a handful, a lot, but like not as much as usual. And then like in the past 5 years, and for the next 5 years, it's going to be basically up to the indie developers to become the next establishment game developing studios, because 2024 is the year that every game was woke. This year and the last few years, every single AAA game, every game from Ubisoft, every game from Activision, Blizzard, fucking Microsoft, now they own all these other studios, like every single one was just hard indoctrinate the masses with the Extinction Religion, hard R woke, like hard, just the big wokey, you know, and it's just like, okay, so I'm not missing out. It feels fine. It feels fine to be like, yeah, all these games are dumpster fires. Why do I want to get into them? I've got so many old games. I want to play those. I want to play the ones I already have. I want to play them at their maximum settings. That's what I want. And I think that's what most people are playing, is the older games at this point. But bit of a rant. If you enjoyed, check out Daniel Owen, his content. Don't give him any hate. He's just too rich for his own good. I'm joking, basically. But he probably gets it for the most part. He probably later in the video he probably says, they're probably poor and they can't afford it. I don't know, but I just thought I had a little bit to add there, and make sure you check out our other content. And you based, get based. Crowdfunder without the e.com/based.ass-game. Go check that out. Get the bag.
Based.ass games, based.ass games. We bring you real good games, by gamers for gamers. No walkie boring stories, no homo global, just good games. No battle passes, no FOMO or FOBO, just based.ass games. It is based.ass games, based.ass games. By gamers for gamers. No walkie boring stories, no homo globo, just good games. No battle passes, no FOMO or FOBO, just based.ass games. It is based.ass games, based.ass games. Stories, no homo global, just good games. Based.ass games, based.ass games. We bring you real good games, by gamers for gamers. No boring stories, no homo global, just good games. It's based.ass games, based.ass games. We bring you real good games, by gamers for gamers. Gamers for gamers. No walkie boring stories, no homo global, just good games. It is based.ass games, based.ass games.